that the awarding of a fisheries tender by the Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries Department to Sekunjalo Marine Services Consortium was improper. Sekunjalo Holdings, also a controlling shareholder in independent news and media in South Africa, which owns the Cape Times. Independent news chairperson Iqbal Survé said that Dasnois had not been fired but had been offered alternative positions within the company. Now we are joined by Mark Weinberg from the Right2Know Campaign, who is in Cape Town. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Eben.
Just tell us about this march today.
Well, this is really a picket to send a clear message to the management of independent newspapers that they need to respect the editorial independence of their journalists and not behave in the way they did behave last week.
What did you make about the statement by Iqbal Survé that Dasnois had not been fired but she'd been offered alternative positions within the company?
Well, I think his statement that she was removed on performance grounds and that she was removed as part of restructuring are both absolutely baseless, because he failed to follow the necessary procedures and legal requirements to undertake such restructuring. It's clear that he was responding in anger to the Cape Times exposure of another one of his companies' involvement in tender irregularities.
Tell us, Mark, how do you see this play out in the fight for press freedom in the wider context of South Africa?
Well, we have a very concentrated print media sector, 4 companies controlling the bulk of circulation. So the wall between journalists and their owners is critical. Owners have to have a hands-off approach to editorial, and journalists have to feel free to publish what is in the public's right to know. And the events at the Cape Times really represent a bad omen for the independent group. This is 14 newspapers across the country. You've got the Star up in Johannesburg. And it really is a matter of great concern for press freedom.
Credibility is always at the foremost of everyone's discussions when we look at this sort of thing. How does this affect the credibility then of the Cape Times and then the wider group, as you spoke about here in South Africa?
Well, obviously, it's a group that's been losing circulation for quite some time. The previous Irish owners have underfunded newsrooms and editorial, so credibility is critical. People want to trust and believe the news they read, and when management acts the way that it has in this case, it undermines the public's confidence in what they see in the newspapers.
Head on the block, what do you say? Why was she dismissed?
Well, I think there needs to be a lot more investigation into the claims made by the owner. But at the moment, the speed with which she was removed, the fact that she published something that it put the owner in a very bad light, suggests that she was removed for telling the truth.
Tell us about the march today. Who will be taking part in this march? And then also, where will the march be taking place?
Well, we're not marching, we're just picketing outside the Cape Times offices in St. George's Street, and we've called on Right2Know supporters and the public to join us, and we're hoping that there'll be a very strong show of support for press freedom.
Who are the groups that will be supporting you there today in this picket, you say?
Well, the Right2Know Campaign is a coalition of I think over 400 groups across the country, and we'll wait to see really who arrives today.
Well, Mark, thank you very much for joining us. That's Mark Weinberg from the Right2Know Campaign on their picket for press freedom in South Africa. Moving on.